We are trying to get more people aware about the Energy East pipeline, which is a pipeline that comes from Fort McMurray in the tar sands, and it's going to traverse across Canada. So they're looking to carry 1.1 million barrels of bitumen across our entire country every single day.
Everyone is aware of all the proposed benefits from TransCanada's Energy East conversion project, but not too many of us have heard the concerns of our local environmental professionals.
The Energy East pipeline is really a reckless plan to move Alberta tar sands diluted bitumen 4,500 kilometers across the country to the east coast to be loaded onto ships for export. It carries huge risk for people in northwestern Ontario and around the planet for a number of reasons, right from the likelihood of spills, which is huge, to the climate change impacts.
I think the recent derailments in Northern Ontario are worrisome, but we have no reason to believe that the Energy East pipeline or any of these pipelines is going to reduce the amount of crude that's transported by rail. Economically, pipelines are cheaper and they are more efficient for transporting high volumes of crude. But the rail lines are more flexible in terms of their timing and destination, and they're also faster. And when we look at what's happening right now in the oil markets and how volatile it is, we can expect that those oil companies are going to want to maintain both options. And if we expand Alberta's oil sands, we should expect that we're going to have increases in both pipelines and rail lines, and both are potentially dangerous to people and our environment.
Most of the problems in these old pipes, and this is an old pipe, come from stress corrosion cracking. And that's something that happens mostly with the old system of protecting the pipe from the elements. So these pipes are buried underground and they're in wet environments and acidic environments. The newer pipe has a baked on coating that seems to be fairly resistant to this stress corrosion cracking. But the old pipe has a polyethylene tape kind of coating, and it sags off or it tents up off and it separates from the pipe. And what that does is it lets moisture get in, and you get these little hairline cracks that get deeper and they grow.
We've studied the risks and the rewards of such a pipeline, and we realize that it's pretty much all risk and very little reward for us here in Northwestern Ontario. It's kind of a rip it and ship it kind of thing that's happening. There are little or no benefits other than short-term construction jobs for us here. It's a 40-year-old pipe that comes through this area, and we know that by other accidents that have happened in other areas, that pipe is subject to corrosion after 40 years, and that this is not a good idea.
Despite a vision for economic growth, the building of community partnerships, and the increase of jobs around the region, there is still great ecological concern for the coming generations.
The fossil fuel companies are desperate to get this product to market, and they will ship it however they can to get it to market, and that will be by pipeline if they can get one approved, and by rail, wherever that works for them. We have to be worried about the fish, we have to be worried about the animals, and in the case of the diluent, we have to be worried about the people who are dependent on that water supply. If there were a spill that went into the Dog River, for example, the Dog River goes into Dog Lake, comes across the Dog Lake, goes down through a series of rivers, ends up in the Kaministiquia River, which ends up in Lake Superior, from which Thunder Bay draws its drinking water. Water treatment plants have no way to remove those kinds of, it's a solvent basically, they have no way to remove that from the water, so even the most advanced water treatment plants, and of which Thunder Bay is fortunate to have one, can't get rid of that benzene, so it will be in our drinking water.
We know that the oil that is run from the tar sands, the dirtiest oil of them all. So why, when we know that...
Getting bitumen out of the tar sands is a really heavily energy intensive process. You have to either steam it out, dilute it out with water and shake it out. It takes a lot of energy to get the bitumen out. And then the bitumen is like the consistency of peanut butter. And to push it through a pipeline, you have to dilute it with benzene and other hydrocarbons, light hydrocarbons, to make it flow. But the process of just getting that oil out of the tar sands, it would be like putting 7 million more cars on the road, or like reopening every coal-fired generating station in Ontario. So it'd be a huge step backwards, 30 million tons of carbon dioxide a year just from getting the bitumen out of the tar sands that would go through this pipeline.
And I think now is a critical time when we see the price of oil that has fallen, is a critical time when we need to be transitioning. Let's take this opportunity where it's not so profitable to be making money off of bitumen and other dirty energies like fracking and coal, and let's subsidize green energy. Let's get that transition to low carbon economy happening today.
For Go on Shaw TV, this is Akio Brayshaw.